everybody, it's your favorite Cape Crusaders, favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the SH Figuarts Return of the Jedi Darth Vader. A lot of good things about this, and one unfortunate thing about this. But we'll get into that, but first, we're going to get into accessories. He comes with a metric ton of hands. You have a lightsaber holding hand left and right. You have a set of pointing hands left and right. A set of supporting hands left and right. A set of I'm gonna get you hands left and right. A set of relaxed hands or force gesturing hands left and right. And a set of choking finger force hands or trigger finger hands probably left and right. All of them decoed in the kind of shiny gloss aesthetic. He also comes with the lightsaber, silver paint on top of black plastic, I believe. The blade is removable and goes in. It's a red translucent. You know what I want? White rod, red translucent around it. And then we have nothing else about this really, necessarily. The paint is done clean and the sculpt is nice. He will hold it in his holding hand, however, it is not the greatest fit. Just to you know, be honest, it's a little bummer. Like, you gotta kind of move it around so that the notch on the lightsaber kind of pushes tension against the hand and fingers, so that's a slightly unfortunate situation. Now, he's also supposed to come with a lightsaber hilt that is missing this piece that plugs into the side of his belt, but we're not entirely sure it came with ours. We don't remember it being in there. Brink opened it the other day, and it's not in there now. We don't remember it falling, feeling like, you know, we heard something do one of those numbers or anything, so I don't know if his came without it, if somehow it fell out and we didn't notice it, but whatever the case may be, it's supposed to come with the second one, is the kind of general point that's sort of detailed the same way, minus a notch out part that goes into the side of his belt. You had the battle damage arm for when Luke cuts his hand off, and you get to see some of the kind of sculpted gizmos and stuff in there, red, blue, silver paint, and it attaches to his forearm. But I'm having a hard time getting this forearm piece off in order to show you, but theoretically there's a little notch key kind of situation that slides up in and will handle that, but I'm not going to risk it. This doesn't belong to me. He comes with this Sebastian Shaw head, which is done quite nicely. We have the kind of photoreal paint applied. It's sculpted well. You have the two bits sculpted in there. They come out to around to his mouth. You have the silver painted on there. The scar is painted on there and sculpted. It looks tremendous. It's one of my favorite kind of helmetless Vaders thus far. And we'll go ahead and show the head swap out as well. It's and we can take a look at the engineering. Double ball peg from the head into the neck. And I think that looks pretty good. Lastly, not so much an accessory, but more so a gimmick. His helmet will come off to kind of expose that too, so you can kind of play around with a lot of the ideas and set it up for pictures and so forth to kind of recreate the death scene. So let's talk about the figure, and in order to do so, we're going to go through the articulation of the head first, the alternate head, then we'll kind of get rid of the cape. We'll get there. So limited down, limited up. You do get a good side-to-side, confused dog look, and the swivel, obviously. As for the cape, I'll go ahead and leave it on for now. So it has a wire that runs through it. There's a lot of problems with the cape. So it's bunched up around the collar, which looks silly. And then you have the chain that runs from one piece to the other, which is fine, but it might be... just because of the way it's all done, it might be a little short of a chain, which comes out to a piece of wiring that you're supposed to use to articulate the cape, for lack of a better term, or pose the cape. The problem is that it has nothing to kind of dig into at the base of the collar, so you're never really going to be able to use it successfully. Like, it's never going to work quite right, which is a bummer. And you know, the last release had the same sort of issue. Now, don't get me wrong, I have worked with the last release and made it work, you know, and you can do it with this one as well. It's just that, like, the soft goods are just not their strength. You know, every now and then they'll get one right, but just generally speaking, it's just not their strong suit. So let's get rid of the cape. In order to do so, we'll take off this head and then we'll put on the proper Vader head to kind of better look at the articulation. The sculpt on this helmet far exceeds all of their previous attempts and has the glossy nature to it. It looks fantastic. A really tremendous sculpt. And like, it sounds like it'd be easy, but it's not, because nobody has got it quite right. This is probably the best we've seen in this scale. So articulation, a little bit down. No, actually it came off the ball peg. You're not going to get much down or up out of this guy, unfortunately. A little bit down, a little bit up, side to side. Not the best. The chest armor is beautiful. with the silver paint on it. Looks great, especially in comparison to the older ones, which we'll do here in a bit. Same for the shoulder armor with those two pieces. Fantastic. The glossy black all comes across great. So you have the glossy black, then you have the flat black. Tremendous. No issues. Now, the shoulders, it's a disc hinge that goes into a ball peg. Goes into a ball peg socket inside of the chest within the sheath covering over top. And as a result, you get the arm a fair amount forward, a little bit back. The shoulder pad is on a double hinge, so you can get that up and out of the way for 90 degrees. And then using the hinge, you get that movement. And then using the swivel on the ball peg, you get it all the way around. So no issues. Then you have a swivel at the bicep. You have a double jointed elbow, which looks pretty good too. And they sculpt the elbow joint, which always helps. And then you have the wrists. They're on ball pegs that are attached to ball hinges. So you get the swivel and then you get the hinge up and down. And then if you rotate them, it's a little tight. Then if you rotate them, you can also get the in out. Same for the other side. They don't use soft goods for the inner robes, which makes him always have this kind of like hourglass figure, which I'm not crazy about, but when he has the cape on, you don't really notice. So it's a double ball peg from the chest into the abdomen and then a single from the abdomen into the pelvis. Using both, you can get him over a fair bit, back a fair bit, over teapot a little bit, swivel a fair bit. All of that works pretty much fine. The chest plate here, silver, copper, red, and blue paint, all looks good. The belt is fully sculpted and painted with silver, kind of green and blue, green and red, and more silver accents. Looks good enough. You have the softer plastic inner robes. They sort of hang down. No issues. And I would guess they're attached to the belt. I don't want to mess with this thing too tough. Then you have the pelvis. So you have drop down T-jointed ball joints. They will get you up to there, which is pretty good. They're not going to get you really anything back because of all the robes and stuff. And he's not a super articulated, this isn't the type of character where you need to get him in super dynamic poses, I feel like. And then out to the side, works pretty well. You get a thigh swivel around the ball peg system, and then you hit a double jointed knee, which isn't the worst in the world, and you can get the foot through the soft rope, so that's nice. You get an ankle tilt up and ankle tilt down. I'm trying to see what they use there. Double ball peg, which I kind of prefer, honestly. And then rotating on the double ball peg, you get a little bit of a rocker, but not the best. And then you have the toe hinge. So most of the articulation is there, and will work well. Couple little things that could be better, but overall, this part of the figure is tremendous, right? It's just kind of the cape that detracts from it. Let's take a look at a couple of the SH Figuarts ones. We'll throw the Black Series one in as well. So there he is next to the Black Series on this side. The previous, I think this was the Rogue One. I'm not entirely sure. And then the first one they put out. This one is obsolete, I would say, at this point. So we'll just remove him for a second and we'll look at these three. So I think this is the best one available currently right now. It's the best helmet for sure. This one protrudes a bit too much, like the facial features. The Black Series one is a little too stunted in the front. This one is kind of the right balance of the sort of facial elements. But what Brink kind of wanted me to show you guys is, let me show you. What Brink did was he took the head off of this guy and off of this guy. This is the Black Series and the latest SHF. Switched the capes. I was gonna do it, but then I realized that it's actually tied into the chest armor on the Black Series, and I'm not going to do all that. So, but he says he did that, and then he was kind of super happy with the results. I'm not sure how I feel about it because I'm not going to do it, but he was happy, and I think he would appreciate if I passed that on. All right, let me talk about the negatives. So, the first and foremost, most glaring thing out there is 1000% the cape. SHF just does not know their way around soft goods in the same way that a lot of these other companies are starting to or have already proven they can. They just struggle with it. But they're also relatively new to it. It wasn't too long ago that they made a Black Series Darth Vader with an all-plastic cape, and now here they are, and it's gotten better, but it still ain't right. I also would like a little bit more articulation in the ankles. The double ball pegs are a nice way of doing it. The problem is the cut of the armor kind of prevents it from getting a full rocker. And to be fair, those are my only real kind of striking criticisms. But it comes with a ton of accessories and display options, including the Sebastian Shaw head, the cutoff hand, and plenty of posing hands. It's also the best 1/12 scale sculpted and produced Darth Vader helmet I have seen to date. Add that on top of the things that the previous release already had going for it, and it does get a recommend from me, but I'm not sure it's quite enough yet to make me switch out. Hope that helps. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.